What's up, Lions faithful? You're tuned in the Lions News Fan Report, your go-to source for the latest updates, inside information, and all the rumors surrounding our beloved Detroit Lions. Today I've got something that's going to get you thinking about the future of this franchise, about how Brad Holmes and his scouting department are already working behind the scenes to keep this championship window wide open. We're talking about a player who's flying under the radar, right? Someone who could be a perfect fit for what Dan Campbell is building here in the Motor City. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why this prospect matters for our Lions moving forward. Before we dive deep into the details, let me set the stage for you. The Lions are in the middle of something special right now. We've built this roster through smart drafting, strategic free agency moves, and a scouting department that knows exactly what they're looking for. Brad Holmes has proven time and time again that he can identify talent, that he can find players who fit our culture, who embody that grit and toughness that Coach Campbell demands. And as we're enjoying this incredible season, as we're watching our team compete at the highest level, the front office is already looking ahead, already planning for how to sustain this success for years to come. That's what separates good organizations from great ones. The ability to think multiple steps ahead, to identify needs before they become problems, to find value in places where other teams might not be looking. And right now, with college football in full swing, with Saturday's slate of games offering a treasure trove of talent to evaluate, the Lions scouting staff is hard at work. They're watching film, they're analyzing prospects, they're identifying players who could potentially wear the Honolulu blue and silver in the near future. Now, I want you to think about our linebacker position for a moment. We've got some solid players there, guys who have stepped up and contributed to our success this season. But depth is always a concern in the NFL, especially at a position as physically demanding as linebacker. You need guys who can fly around the field, who can make tackles in space, who have that instinctive ability to read plays and react quickly. You need athleticism, you need intelligence, and you need toughness. Those three qualities are non-negotiable for a Dan Campbell defense. And here's where things get interesting. There's a player out there right now, competing in the Mountain West Conference, who embodies all of those qualities. A linebacker who made a decision that surprised a lot of people in the modern era of college football. Instead of transferring to a bigger program, instead of chasing the spotlight at a Power 5 school, he stayed loyal to his team. He believed in himself, he believed in his coaches, and he's been proven all season long that he made the right choice. This is the kind of character that Brad Holmes loves, the kind of player who fits perfectly what we're building in Detroit. Last season, this linebacker put up numbers that turned heads across the country. We're talking about 115 tackles, 14 tackles for loss. Those are elite production numbers, the kind of stats that usually lead to players jumping to bigger programs or declaring for the draft. But he chose to stay, to develop his game further, to show that he could be even more than just a tackling machine. And this season, he's added a new dimension to his game that has NFL scouts taking even more notice. Through the games played so far this year, he's already accumulated 77 tackles, which shows that his ability to find the football hasn't diminished one bit. But here's the kicker. Here's what's really got people excited about his NFL potential. He's added 2.5 sacks to his resume this season, demonstrating that he can rush the passer, that he can be a versatile weapon for defensive coordinators. In today's NFL, you need linebackers who can do multiple things, who can drop into coverage, who can stuff the run, and who can generate pressure when called upon. This player is showing he can do all of that. Now, let me tell you about the scouting report on this guy, because it's fascinating. The biggest strength that evaluators point to is his athleticism. In a league that's getting faster every single year, where offensive coordinators are spreading the field and forcing defenses to cover more ground, having athletic linebackers is absolutely crucial. This player has the speed and agility to match up with running backs and tight ends in coverage, to chase down ball carriers from sideline to sideline, to make plays that other linebackers simply can't make because they don't have that same level of athleticism. But here's where it gets tricky. And this is something Brad Holmes and his staff will have to evaluate carefully. The concern with this prospect is his size. He's listed at 6'1", 210 pounds. In the modern NFL, that's on the smaller side for a linebacker. You typically want guys who are closer to 220, 230, especially if they're going to be banging with offensive linemen and taking on blocks at the line of scrimmage. But here's the thing, and this is where the evaluation becomes more art than science. His athleticism helps compensate for that lack of ideal size. His ability to avoid blocks rather than take them on directly. His speed to get around obstacles rather than through them. These are skills that can make up for not having that prototypical linebacker build. Think about some of the most successful undersized linebackers in NFL history. Players who were told they were too small, who were doubted because they didn't fit the traditional mold, but who carved out incredible careers because they had elite athleticism and football instinct. That's the kind of player we might be looking at here. Someone who won't wow you with their measurements at the combine, but who shows up on game film making play after play after play. The current draft projections have him going somewhere in the late day 3, which means we're talking about a 6th or 7th round selection, or possibly even a priority free agent signing. For a team like the Lions, that's exactly the sweet spot where Brad Holmes has found so much value over the past few years. We've seen him hit on late-round picks and undrafted free agents who have become significant contributors to this team. Finding a linebacker with this kind of production and athleticism in that range would be an absolute steal. And here's something else to consider. This player has been viewed as one of the best bets to be an NFL draft selection among players in his conference. He's lived up to the hype throughout this season, consistently making plays and showing that he belongs at the next level. That kind of consistent production, that ability to perform week in and week out, that's what you want to see from a prospect. You don't want guys who have 1 or 2 great games and then disappear. You want players who show up every single Saturday and make their presence felt. Now let me reveal who we've been talking about this whole time. The linebacker I'm referring to is Jordan Pollard from San Jose State. Pollard is a Spartan who chose loyalty over the transfer portal, who believed in his program and his development, and who is now reaping the rewards of that decision. After his monster season last year with 115 tackles and 14 tackles for loss, he could have easily transferred to a bigger program, chased more exposure, played on a bigger stage, but he stayed with San Jose State, continued to develop his game, and is now showing even more versatility with his ability to rush the passer. For those of you who want to check him out for yourselves, and I highly recommend you do, the Spartans are traveling to face their rival San Diego State Aztecs. Now, I've got to give you a mandatory coffee warning here because this game doesn't kick off until 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's a late one for us East Coast folk. But if you're serious about evaluating talent, if you want to see what Jordan Pollard can do with your own eyes, it's worth staying up for. Watch how he reads and reacts. Watch how he uses his athleticism to make plays. Watch how he's constantly around the football. Those are the traits that translate to the NFL. So why does Jordan Pollard make sense for the Detroit Lions specifically? Let me break it down for you. First, we know Brad Holmes loves to find value in the later rounds of the draft. He's proven that he can identify players who might not have the perfect measurables, but who have the production, the athleticism, and the character to succeed at the next level. Pollard fits that profile perfectly. Second, we need to continue building depth at the linebacker position. You can never have too many guys who can run and hit. Third, his athleticism fits what Aaron Glenn wants to do defensively. We play an aggressive, attacking style of defense, and having linebackers who can cover ground and make plays in space is essential to that scheme. The Lions have built this roster through smart, strategic moves. We haven't relied on big-name free agents or blockbuster trades. We've drafted well. We've developed players. We've created a culture where guys want to come and be part of something special. Adding a player like Jordan Pollard in the late rounds will be another example of that philosophy in action. Find a talented player who might be overlooked because of his size. Bring him into our program. Develop him within our system and watch him become a contributor. And let's not forget about the intangibles. Pollard chose loyalty when he could have chased greener pasture. He believed in himself and his development. Those are the kinds of players who thrive in Detroit, who embrace the underdog mentality, who fit perfectly with the culture Dan Campbell has built. We're not looking for mercenaries or guys who are just chasing the biggest paycheck. We want players who are going to buy into what we're building, who are going to work their tails off every single day, who are going to be part of this brotherhood we've created. Looking ahead to the draft, the Lions will have multiple needs to address, but linebacker depth should definitely be on the list. Whether it's Jordan Pollard or another prospect with similar traits, Brad Holmes needs to continue adding athletic, productive players who can contribute on defense. The window is open right now for this franchise, but to keep it open, to sustain this success, we need to keep bringing in young talent that can develop and eventually take over for our veteran players. To wrap this up, Lions fans, Jordan Pollard represents the kind of prospect that should excite us about the future. He's productive, he's athletic, he's got character, and he could be available at a point in the draft where the Lions have historically found tremendous value. Brad Holmes and his scouting staff will be watching closely, evaluating whether Pollard's athleticism can overcome concerns about his size, whether his production against Mountain West competition will translate to the NFL level. But based on what we've seen so far, based on the traits he possesses, he's definitely a name to keep on your radar as we head toward draft season. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Jordan Pollard will be a good fit for the Lions? Does his athleticism make up for his lack of ideal size? Would you be excited if Brad Holmes selected him in the late rounds? Drop your comments down below because I love hearing what you think about these prospects and how they might fit with our team. And if you're not already subscribed to Lions News Fan Report, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. We're bringing you the latest news, the deepest analysis, and all the insider information you need to stay connected with your Detroit Lions. Share this video with your fellow Lions fans. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content, and I'll see you in the next one with more news and analysis. One pride, baby.